The world of Satan, witchcraft and the parallel world. In this world there are people that are close to I and you. You eat and drink with them, you talk and laugh with them, you even tell them your problem and confidence, but you do not know their spiritual identity. The truth is that some of them are witches. The purpose of a witch is to cause harm to his neighbor. A witch instinct is to oppose people wealth, happiness and prosperity. His duty is to block and hamper progress and development of his community by blocking people's lives and propagating sickness in the neighborhood and his family. There is no way medical science can cure sickness of mystical origin. Witchcraft is synonym to destruction and devastation. When you have a witch in your family and community, you will witness destruction, devastation and stagnation, even death. A witch in the community will oppose and battle people's destiny. He will block people wealth and progress. He will battle woman marriage and procreation. He will oppose employment of men in the community. Moreover, a witch is capable of modifying people's personality by shooting evil dart. They are people in the community whose attitude and manner are strange, incomprehensible and bizarre. They are people who are always isolated from the rest of the community. They are those who are angry, selfish, hateful. There are people behavior and attitude which are implication of witchcraft manipulation and darts shot to their lives by their enemy. Moreover, there are people whose trajectory, destiny have been diverted and nullified. When you have a witch in the family and the community, people chances, aura and people stars will be subjected to manipulation. Witchcraft is extremely dangerous and must be opposed and fought. The star and aura that cause people's lives to shine and prosper is the target of witches who are obstinate to destroy people in their community. We must understand that witches destroy people's beauty, they destroy people's health and wealth. Most of the evil happening in the land are a result of witchcraft conspiracy and plot. People's personality have been changed and remote controlled by the dark forces. For example, when you see a pastor who is selfish, fornicator and evil-hearted, he is probably a victim of evil dart shot by the enemy to bring about degradation in his behavior. Witches have distorted personality. They cause social conflict, division through slandering in the community. They are ungrateful because witchcraft is rooted in wickedness. They tend to oppose those who are better than them, and they are jealous because they think they are better. When you give a witch a present, he will show gratefulness, but in your back he will scorn and criticize the present you gave him. In many churches there are a lot of witches and they speak in tongue, yet there are no interpretation in their tongue. In fact, they curse the church through their demonic language. When children are initiated in witchcraft, they tend to be hard-headed because in the spirit world they are adult, they feared no one and they despise grown-up. Kids that are in witchcraft often pee in the bed. On the other hand, witches tend to display their nudity in order to curse people. A witch can pee around in order to curse people around. When a witch enter a toilet, he will deliberately refuse to flash water in order to bewitch anyone that see his feces. And when a witch come to your house for the first time, he will tend to rush to the toilet to contact the lady of the toilet, the princess of love Jacqueline, to get information about your family. People that are witches have the tendency to twist the truth in order to create division, misunderstanding, and conflict. I remember when I got initiated in witchcraft, I was shown all the witch in my neighborhood. I was stunned by the number of people who were in witchcraft, yet these people were good and civilized in the day, yet they were witches. Witchcraft exists and is real. Many are ignorant about it. Many are ignorant, yet it is there and it is operational. Witchcraft destabilizes families. It is causing death and rendering families poor and miserable. It is destroying marriage. Many families are suffering from this sickness of witchcraft origin. Witchcraft destroy people aura, stars and destiny. It is the cause of infirmity and sickness. Your life is not moving forward because there is witchcraft in your family that must be confronted. I will denounce what I saw in the spirit world, for what is hidden will be put to light. When I was a child, I was a witch. People noticed that there was something wrong with me, but they were ignorant, for they did not have Christ and there was no revival in the country. At that time, I was a witch since the womb of my mother. Understand that where there is a witch there is sickness and failure. I'm Pastor Vincent. I am from the Lower Congo province. My tribe is one of the tribe that is deep in witchcraft. I was born in a family of 7 in the village. My mother had many children. This brought about jealousy from her in-law who were in witchcraft. My mother was married legally, traditionally and in the church. I want to underline this because it is important, and this is security. If you live with a woman that you have not honored in her family or before the civil authority, you are insecure, and your children as well. If you live with a woman and you are making children, but you have never married her, you are all exposed, because you are illegal and you have broken God law. I would like to highlight that during my childhood, people were investigating the spiritual condition, status and configuration of the family where they were to marry to. I would personally advise everybody to adopt this practice. You must investigate the family in which you want to marry. In truth, there are family with spiritual baggage, generational curse and spiritual bondage. My mother was married in a wrong family and there was witchcraft in that family. We grew up in the compound of my father that was given to him by his mother. The implication is that my father was under the influence of the grandmother, yet it is written that for this reason a man will leave his father and mother and be united to his wife, and the two will become one flesh. Beloved, it is imperative for a man to leave his family and start his own life, but my father did not leave his family. My grandmother wanted to know and be in control of everything happening and going on in my father's marital life. As a result, there was jealousy. The fact that our tribe is a matriarchal system, the implication is that my mother had full control of the children in case her husband died. This prompted grandmother, who was in witchcraft, to plot against my mother. We must understand that the world of witchcraft is a world of plot and conspiracy. They are people plotting and conspiring against your life when you are sleeping. Therefore watch and pray, otherwise you will suffer consequence. Grandmother went on to cook food that she had bewitched. In order to attack my mother, she said to her, "I wanted to thank you for giving us many children, therefore I brought you this food." My mother was pregnant and tired. She did not know the real motive and intent behind this kindness. Witches can be kinder to you when you are subjected to their destruction. Grandmother wanted to destroy my mother, who was already under systematic attack from witches. In her dreams in the night she was always fighting animals. The moment my mother ate grandmother food that was bewitched, her pregnancy became painful. In fact, the food that was supposed to destroy her ended up affecting me. I was 4 months old in her womb when she ate that food, which awakened me in the spiritual and witchcraft realm and realities. The purpose of that food was to destroy my mother's womb and to kill her later so that she would not have a share in the inheritance of the family. However, I fell victim of this manipulation when I was still a baby in my mother's womb. It is because my mother was in marriage legally that she was spared, otherwise she would have fallen victim. Actually, witches always seek legality and doorway in order to enter. When you are opening door in your life, you are giving them legality. I was affected by this attack because I had the same blood as my father. My mother was in order. She was married legally and she was from another family and was out of reach. I was 4 months old in my mother's womb when I became a witch and my eyes were open to the satanic world. I began to do out-of-body journey though I was still a baby in the womb. I was born on the 13th month of my mother's pregnancy. I was never a normal child. Despite the fact that I was still in the womb of my mother, witches were coming by night to get me and we were traveling in the night to bewitch people. Though I was not yet born, I had knowledge, yet I was still in the womb. Thus I became a committed wizard while I was in the womb of my mother and I began to acquire knowledge though I was not yet born. While I was a child, people were suspicious about me, for I was going out of the body and traveling to the spirit world. When you are initiated in witchcraft and you receive the spirit of witchcraft, you will become a conscious adult in the spirit, even if you are a baby. I mean, you can be a baby in the day but an adult in the night. This is the mystery of the spirit of witchcraft. It does not matter that I was a baby in the day, for I was actually an adult in the spiritual world. My spirit was older than my body. Jesus was 30 years but he was older than Abraham, and people thought that he was crazy when he said that. When a child receives the spirit of witchcraft, even if he is a child in the material world, he is probably older in the spirit world, and he may be married and giving birth to children in the astral world. When there is witchcraft in your family, you will make effort in the day to move forward, but in the night blockade and barrier will be raised. There will be failure where others are succeeding. When I was a child, I was like a child with malnutrition issue. I was well known because of delinquency in the village. My bad attitude was remarkable. I was under the influence of the power of darkness. I had sexual relation with other children and I was leaving in them seed that was bad luck. Once they were grown up, any man or woman sleeping with them were receiving that bad luck and their chants were captured. I was a child witch, operational in school, thus parent must learn to pray for their children when they send them to school. Christian family must learn to do what is called family consecration prayer that would make your family protected and untouchable in the spirit world. We do these kinds of prayers where we dedicated families to God for protection. Over the years in dark activity, when I became an adult, I was employed in civil administration of the dark world. I was supposed to oversee many boroughs in the city. Many area of the capital were under my jurisdiction. No one could be killed and executed without my validation. I was supposed to give authorization and I had to sign for a man or woman to be executed in this geographical location under my jurisdiction. Whenever a witch was to execute a captive within my jurisdiction, he was to contact me and inform me about the execution and human sacrifice. Every time there was human sacrifice, execution and killing in my jurisdiction, I was well informed, and I knew that in a particular neighborhood or street a particular man is to die because my job was to sign in the book of condemnation and death. Then one day I was going to watch a football game in the stadium. While on my way a fellow touched my head. I asked him, "Who are you?" He replied to me, "Your level is too low. I can help you to advance further. You need to be respected." This man spoke exactly like my maid Leonardo. This man was a Satanist, and he was able to know that I am a witch because witch do recognize witch. I asked him, "What are you talking about?" But I knew that he belonged to the dark world like me, though I refused to tell him bluntly that I was a witch. Indeed, it is almost impossible for a witch to admit that he is a witch unless God touch his heart. This man told me that he can help me increase my power, and given that I was curious about gravitating level in the spirit realm, I got close to him. I was just a witch, but this man was a Satanist. Therefore I agreed and he promised to visit me. Many days later I was at home. Actually my father had money and had built a big house, with many room for our education. But my parents were unaware of things I was doing in my bedroom, and our house was so big that I had the ease of doing whatever I wanted. Days later I received the visit of the occultist that I met around the stadium. I introduced him to my parent as a friend and they thought he was just one of my friend. At 4 they served us food. Later in the night, while my parent thought that he had left, but in truth he did not. He actually slept in my room and no one knew about it. We were sleeping, but when it was midnight he woke me up. We must understand that midnight is the transition between the finishing day and the new day. The dark world is active in that strategic hour, because they want to take control of the new day and cause things to happen. It was midnight when my new friend asked me for a powder. Actually many powder are demonic. They are made from bones of human, powder like Night Beauty. There are also perfume that are demonic, like Poison, Goddess, Zanzibar, Happiness. My new friend did an incantation in my room and a powder called Ahasharabu appeared, and he spread it on the floor. Then he drew a circle. Afterward he drew a reversed cross inside the circle. A cross is not a good thing because in the house of sorcerer there are also crosses. After repeating magic prayer and formula, we both entered inside the mystical circle. Then he uttered mystical words of incantation. In fact, the man shouted abracadabra. I replied bra, and instantly we changed location. This was an instant transportation. We landed in a place that I could not recognize. Actually our journey took almost 1 minute. I asked the man, "Where are we?" Since we were no longer in my bedroom, he replied, "We are in the local cemetery of Kimbersik." This change of location happened in the speed of thought. The man said to me, "You just keep quiet and watch." Then this man prayed for me. As a result my eyes opened, although I was already a witch, but he activated another form of vision. As a result I saw the cemetery turning to an advanced metropolitan and the magic city, a dazzling urban world. This was the unseen kingdom of the devil, an invisible world. I was in the cemetery which had disappeared as a result of incantation and was replaced by a fantasy and magic world. After drawing that mystical circle and the reversed cross again, we got inside. Upon reciting magic prayer and incantation we returned to my bedroom in the speed of thought. This was teleportation. Many days later, my new friend the occultist came to see me again. He drew the mystical circle and we entered. In a split second we were transported to the cemetery, and while we were in that cemetery the occultist did ritual and dancing and singing. Finally he uttered words of incantation. As a result there was a strong wind that shook the place, and then a particular coffin opened. Suddenly I saw a skeleton coming out of it. The skeleton was dressed in white, with gloves and a white hat. He walked to me and said, "Vincent, you are welcomed in our world. I knew you since you were in the womb of your mother. You will be my servant, so rejoice." Then my partner the occultist said to him, "We came to you so that you can lead us to the Great Master. We want to meet the Great Master because my friend must gravitate level." The skeleton replied, "All right." Then the three of us entered the coffin of this skeleton. From outside it was clearly a coffin, but when we entered inside it was not. It was a sophisticated and luxurious plane of great comfort. The technology of this plane was not human, it was out of this world, above human civilization, and it was traveling in a prodigious speed. And it transported us to the infernal kingdom of Lucifer, the Pandemonium, precisely in the country of Pestifera. This is one of the country and territory of the unseen kingdom of Lucifer. Likewise they are country and continent in the material. The satanic world has country and territory. The initiate do not go to the same territory of the dark world, the world of the devil, so beautiful that many refuse to abandon magic and sorcery. While we were walking there I heard people calling me by my name behind me. My friend the occultist say, "Do not answer them or you will die." After touring the advanced and urban kingdom of the devil, we saw a massive temple resembling a Catholic cathedral. When we reached the gate of this temple, it opened by itself for us. Then we entered. When we entered I was shocked because there were a lot of people. I am talking about celebrity, politician, the popular people that we watch in television were there. In the audience there were two columns, men on the right and women on the left. I noticed that everybody was naked in this amphitheater. I was able to recognize some of the faces of people here. They were public figure and authority. They were all kind of people of different class of society. I saw a musician, politician, bankers, footballer. All these people came to the devil for power, money and success. The place was a reception where human came to be initiated and sign a pact with the devil. When I arrived in this auditorium I was told not to join the audience because I was a witch by birth, but these people were initiated. When I sat down I noticed a table before the audience. Upon this table were utensils that were covered. In the rear on this auditorium there was a gate. Not long after taking seat I saw a tall man entering the auditorium. This man was the ugliest man I ever met. I was told not to laugh because he is the representative of Lucifer. When he entered the auditorium he asked me to step forward, and he said, "Vincent, before you were born I knew you in the womb of your mother. You will be my servant. Rejoice." The man asked me to remove the veil that was covering the utensil. When I removed the cover from the utensil I saw a bowl with white water. The man said to me, "Vincent, if you love me wash your face 3 times. When I washed for the 3rd time, the white water with which I was washing my face was turned to blood, and my face was covered with blood. This ritual was a covenant with the devil. The action of washing my face with blood was a covenant with the devil. When I raised my head I noticed that my spirit was changed. I was no longer the same person. I felt the spirit of anger, wickedness and destruction entering in me. I lost the concept of love, mercy and empathy. I was introduced in a lifestyle of human sacrifice. The blood covenant that I signed with the devil introduced me to international witchcraft, for there is basic witchcraft where the witch come to bewitch, strangle people and dance naked to paralyze the victim. There is intermediate witchcraft which is national witchcraft, but I was operating in international witchcraft. I remember a mother who went to Europe and have left her 2 children for a long time. These children were initiated in witchcraft. Later they decided to kill her. On that day in the night we traveled together to Europe and we landed in her house. While she was bathing in the bathroom we manifested in the bath, and when the lady saw her 2 children she panicked. She wanted to shout but we stole her voice. She died out of emotion and cardiac arrest. Indeed I entered bloody a lifestyle of bloodshed. I was killing in the city but not my family. Still witch do not protect family but cause destruction. When I entered in blood covenant with the dark world, I was told, Vincent, your sadness and misery is when people are happy, prospering and excelling. Your joy is when people are in pain, suffering, in sickness and when they are miserable. I was told during the initiation, Vincent, no one is more powerful than you. Whatever you think in your mind will happen. Whatever place you think about in your mind you will go there in second. No one can oppose you because you have power, and you are superior and you are special. But the devil is a liar. I remember when I met a Christian that overpowered me and I was left with question. After this journey to the satanic dimension, I was no longer a witch but I became a Satanist. In order to travel to the dark world I was instructed to draw a circle with a powder and a pentacle in my bedroom. I was to enter inside in order to operate interdimensional journey. When I was traveling to the dark world I was drawing the circle and a reverse cross and a snake around it, and I was supposed to get inside the mystical circle and recite incantatory and magic word. Later I was given a communication device similar to a phone. In fact, mobile phone is from the world of Satan. Through initiation the devil remove love, compassion, empathy and mercy in my heart, for I will be sacrificing the innocent. I was handed 5 animals which were my totem which I was supposed to use. In witchcraft, animal are totem representing power in the life of the practitioner. I was working with 5 animal which were my power. I was using an ant as a plane. I was projecting my spirit in a cat and in a cockroach. Many sorcerer uses cat as a vehicle. Once an animal is smarter like a human, he is surely used by witches as a vehicle and as a spy. He become the eyes of the witches and wizards spying over you. In order to spy over Christian, witches project their spirit in animals such as cat, ants. Moreover, I was using spider technique in order to catch people, destiny and goods. The spider web was a tool through which I was catching innocent soul. Animal are related to power in occultism. When you watch a movie like Govern, the Intergalactic Police, you will notice that whenever the battle get tough, he often summon a dragon called Amharos. This dragon is a demon in his service. Often movies showed us the reality of the spiritual war. Every time you see a lead actor accompanied by an animal, this is a representation of his power. Our president was using the totem of leopards. Animal represent power. Most of political regime are rooted in witchcraft and they are represented by animal. Many president in Africa are great master in Freemason. The ant was turning to advanced plane with which I was traveling to different region of the country to steal people goods and embark them in my plane. I can steal your TV and the next thing that will happen is a breakdown. I was doing magical prayer, as a result cat were coming to me and I was deploying these cat to go make noise in order to capture souls in the neighborhood. When you notice a cat making noise like a human, understand that there is witchcraft operation. Once you noticed a cat crying like a man, he is announcing the coming death and a fall of a victim. And when you hear dog noises changing in the night, he is warning of a coming danger and witchcraft. The spider was deploying his spider web for me through which I was capturing people chances. The spider web always catch people on the forehead because human star is on the forehead. As a result there will be hardship. When you notice that you are making effort but you are facing barrier and blockade, you are not making progress, you are surely subjected to witchcraft manipulation. I was catching a lot of soul and their star thanks to spider web. Christian were spared. I was also turning to rat, and I was eating people leg, skin and hand to reduce the number of their years. I was causing the victim to sleep deeply in order to do my operation. Understand that when an animal behave like a man when he is smarter than usual, there is something wrong with him. An animal cannot behave like a man. When I was turning to a cat, I was eating people file and document. I was also eating people clothes and underwear, precisely the where the genital organ is. As a result there was physical and sexual consequence. Witches perpetrate all sort of evil on the earth. After attending the ritual of initiation in the dark world, I was required to offer 88 souls to the devil. I went on to cause a traffic accident that had killed 102 souls. After causing the death of these people, I was invited to attend the pandemonium, the kingdom of Lucifer. In order to gravitate level in the kingdom of darkness, human sacrifice is the only way. When the news of the accident that killed more than 100 people reached the dark world, there was admiration and they marveled. And when the news reached Lucifer, he requested to see me. In the dark world the name of Jesus Christ is dreaded and feared, but when I came to Jesus Christ I noticed that Christian had no idea about the power of the name of Jesus Christ. The devil, having heard about the traffic accident that I caused, invited me and wanted to see me. I was directed to a doctor who was an occultist. He was supposed to take me to see the devil in the parallel world. However, my colleague who took me to the pandemonium suggested that I should invite the devil to come to my house instead, me traveling to meet him in the pandemonium. I decided to invite the devil to come personally. In my place I was instructed by my friend to bite bread and find fountain water for the guest. On that day I was supposed to draw a Kabbalistic circle and draw a reverse cross inside the circle and invoke the devil, who was supposed to show up inside the magical circle. On that day, I drew the magical circle and I placed a chair inside the circle. In order to summon the devil I was to recite special mystical prayer. I was supposed to smoke before doing any incantation and conjuring prayer. Moreover, I was to take off all photos that were in my bedroom and the house, otherwise people in these photos will die, for when the devil appeared he would take the soul of the people in the photos. On that day, after smoking cigarette, my bedroom was full of smoke. After the smoke faded, I saw an ant inside the mystical circle. This ant was moving inside the magical circle. It was unable to cross the line. Had this ant crossed the line of the circle, people present in the house would have died. Therefore he had to remain inside. Actually this ant was the devil himself. Later the ant turned to a cockroach, then it turned to a lizard, then it turned to a dog, then an elephant. It grew in proportion and exceeded the roof of the house. All this was happening in the night while everybody in the house was sleeping. Then the elephant turned to a three-headed snake and began to talk to me. The three-head talked to me simultaneously. The first head called me by my name and the second head asked me, "Vincent, why have you called me?" And the third head asked me, "What do you want from me?" I said to the devil, "Great Master, before we talk I present to you the bread." When I said that, this three-head snake, who was the devil, turned to a humanoid being. He became just like a human, but he was an extremely beautiful and fascinating young man. He stood right in front of me. The devil said, "Why have you called me Vincent? You are really courageous." I said to him, "Master, I would like you to eat the bread that I prepared for you." Then he ate the bread and he asked me, "Who told you about the things that I like?" I replied, "Given that I am your faithful servant, I am supposed to know what you like." On that day I talked to the devil about a lot of things. Then he disappeared. After the encounter with the devil, I traveled to the pandemonium for the annual congress. In that summit I saw demons of all kind and all shapes, like Johnny Walker of alcoholism, Paul Berger of wrestling. I saw false pastor. This journey to the dark world was an indication of my journey from witchcraft to Satanism. Beloved, we must understand that the world is about the strong dominating the weak. Those who are member of the satanic world esteem themselves a superior race. They think that they are special and privileged.